Hi, welcome. Thanks for being so prepared and quiet. I'm going to call to order the December 19th Lititz Borough Council Meeting and turn it over to the mayor for the pledge.
Good evening, everybody. We have the invitation first, and the invitation will be given this evening by John Knudsen, Life Spring Fellowship Church, located on Lincoln Avenue. John, if you would, can use the air.
Just want to read one very quick verse of scripture and we'll pray. But I feel like it's very fitting for the time of year that we're in and for the occasion that brings us together. Isaiah chapter number 9, verse number 7 says, "For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government will be on his shoulders, and he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, and Prince of Peace." Let's pray. God, we just thank you for this community. We thank you, Lord, for your hand of blessing that has been upon it for so many years. We thank you for this council and mayor that sit and govern over it. And we recognize, Lord, that this is important to you. And we thank you for this opportunity to be here. We ask your blessing upon our community, upon its citizens and residences. Father, again, for our leadership. And we just ask you for this meeting. And as we transition into a new year, that your blessing continue to rest upon them as they govern, as they make decisions. And Lord, we just pray that it will be done in fear and reverence of you. So we thank you for tonight and this opportunity. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you so much, John. Could we please stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance.
Mayor. Two sets of minutes to approve this evening. We have the November 28th council meeting minutes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the Lititz Borough Council Meeting minutes dated November 28th and December 12th of 2023.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We also have our December 12th council meeting minutes of budget Q&A.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the budget meeting Q&A meeting minutes from December 12th, 2023.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We have the reason for the crowd. We have 3 new officers to swear in tonight, which is pretty exciting for us because we have been short of staff for a little while. Our department's been working a lot of overtime, so I think everybody's pretty excited to get into next year and get fully restaffed. We're gonna do them one at a time. So David Greenwood, you come forward. Mayor's gonna meet you out there. I'm just gonna read a quick bio about David. He's a graduate of Lampeter Strasberg High School as well as Liberty University with a degree in interdisciplinary studies and a veteran of the U.S. Army. David was recently married in June to his wife Taylor, who is a teacher in the Manheim Central School District, and they reside in Manheim. Here's Mayor.
Hey. I will discharge the office. And then I will discharge the office with fidelity. Uphold. Say. Of course. All without consideration. Person, race. Color. Sex. Age. National origin. State. Cat. I'm going to do his badge and Mother Christian. Congratulations. Thank you. Good luck. This way.
Good name, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry. All right, Spencer.
Okay, I see that work.
You're good. Yeah. Spencer Moser is up next. Spencer, if you want to come on up. Spencer is a graduate of Calico High School and Lebanon Valley College, where he earned a degree in exercise science and was captain of the football team. Spencer is currently living in Africa with his wife Kayla, a doctor of physical therapy, and they are expecting their first child in January.
Hey, Spencer, here we go. I, Spencer Moser,
I, Spencer Moser,
solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I,
that I,
as a police officer
as a police officer,
for the Lititz Borough Police,
Lititz Borough Police,
will support,
support,
obey,
obey,
and defend
defend
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Pennsylvania Constitution
Pennsylvania Constitution,
of Pennsylvania,
and the laws of Pennsylvania,
and the Borough of Lititz.
and the Borough of Lititz.
And I will discharge
And I will discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
I will uphold,
I will uphold,
obey,
obey
and enforce the law
the law
without consideration
without consideration
to a person's race,
to a person's race,
color,
color,
sex,
sex,
religious creed,
creed,
sexual orientation,
sexual orientation,
age,
age,
national origin,
national origin,
ancestry,
ancestry,
handicap, or disability.
handicap.
Congratulations. Welcome. And Spencer, I have his wife Kayla. Now his badge. Oh, let me move this in. Okay.
Finally, Joseph Walsh. Joseph is originally from Belleville, New Jersey, and prior to joining Lititz Police was a corrections officer at Lebanon County Prison. Joseph resides in Myerstown with his wife Haley, a substitute teacher, and their daughters Rosie and Willow.
I, Joseph Walsh,
I, Joseph Walsh,
solemnly swear
solemnly
that I,
that I,
the police officer
as a
for the Lititz Borough Police
for the Lititz Borough Police,
will support,
will support,
obey,
obey,
defend
and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the States
and the Pennsylvania Constitution
and the Pennsylvania
and the laws of Pennsylvania
and the laws of Pennsylvania.
and the Borough of Lititz. And I will discharge
And I,
duties of the office
the duties of the office
with fidelity.
with fidelity,
I will uphold,
I will uphold,
obey,
obey,
enforce the law
and enforce the law
without consideration
without consideration
to a person's race,
to a person's race,
color,
color,
sex,
sex,
religious creed,
religious creed,
sexual orientation,
sexual orientation,
age,
age,
national origin,
national origin,
ancestry,
ancestry,
handicap, or disability.
handicap, or disability. Thank you, sir.
And pinning him, his badge on him. Hey, Haley, his wife, come on back up. Up. Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. A quick picture. Sure. Yep. Take this brief break here.
All the officers come up for a picture. Go in. Oh, there's room over here. Like. Yeah.
And don't take it personally that they're leaving. So, good evening, everybody. We're glad you're here, and we wish you a good week and a Merry Christmas weekend coming up. 2023 has been a good year for the borough, but it will be a year remembered by transition, and that's leadership transition. This time last year, we were saying goodbye to Sue Berry, who served us for 38 years, and we were welcoming new talent, Elijah Urick, Rob McFadden, and Kristen Brady, who have had their roles expanded and have served the borough well. But tonight is about recognizing some new folks that are going to be joining our team and also saying goodbye to 3 members that have served us well. So we would like to recognize and congratulate members that are going to be joining Borough Council. And first up from Ward number 1 is Mary Gaddis. Will you stand, please? And then from Ward 2, Tanea Carpenter, and I don't know if she's online. She is, okay, Tanea, welcome. And then from Ward 3, we have Jerry Mack. And so we recently had a greet and meet session here at the borough to begin our orientation and to help our new members get oriented. And we're excited to see you join our team. So I'd like to congratulate you. So tonight is also recognizing 3 members of Borough Council that have served our community well. And our first individual is Andy Greiner. He served 2 back-to-back terms. He was started out in 2016 and he's finishing this year. He's also served as president pro temp, and he's also served on several subcommittees over his 2 terms. Dave Brubaker is also retiring tonight. He joined us in 2019, filling a vacant open and then ran for election, and he's serving 1 term. He'll be finishing his service tonight as well. And then finally, we have Shane Weaver. Shane has served 4 consecutive terms. So it's been a wonderful service that you have provided, but he's also served in many capacities. Shane has served as our vice president. That was in 2018. So,
I've lost track of time, to be honest, but
vice president in 2010, and then serving as president in 2018 on various committees.
Yep.
So, gentlemen, there are several members of the community that want to recognize your service and also say a word of thanks. So, Blaine?
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm here tonight to speak a little bit on behalf of Andy Greiner. Andy joined the West Board, and I'm glad our dates matched up, January of 2016, as the Lititz Borough Council representative, replacing Doug Baumberger. Andy went right into the chairman role, but we gave him a break and he was vice chairman, but the next year he went into the chairman role. Andy served a total of 8 years on the West Board, so his entire time on Borough Council, he was on the West Board, including 3 terms as our chairman. Major accomplishments of West during Andy's years of service include: we created a regional apparatus replacement plan and funding model. We began a program to provide physicals for new volunteers and to create a schedule for existing members to follow. We created a tax credit program for our volunteers. We started a regional fire service analysis, which led to the creation of the fire commissioner role, which is what I serve in now. In 2021, we hired a part-time assistant for WESC. And in this past year, as you guys know, we hired Mike Smith as the deputy fire commissioner for WESC. So with Andy's background in emergency services, he was a great asset to the board because he understood our struggles, our concerns, and as well as our accomplishments. Andy's always encouraged cooperation among the agencies and the leaders. And although Andy will no longer be the Borough Council rep on the West Board, he has expressed interest to be the citizen rep on our board. Chris Strayer will be resigning, and as fire commissioner, I encourage you to appoint Andy as the citizen rep. So thank you, Andy, for your 8 years of committed service to the West Board and specifically to me. Thank you.
Dennis?
When I was asked to say a few words about my friend David Brubaker, I jumped at the opportunity. And so I'm so thankful to be able to share that. I thought I'd just share, while I'm not aware of all the ins and outs of the Borough Council, I thought I'd share a few things about David that you maybe didn't realize before. So it might be a revelation to you, but it also might be an indication why, at least I feel, he's been such a good servant on this board for Lititz. Our friendship first started at the Lititz Public Library when we were waiting in line for a book sale in cold weather, and we decided to go into our cars. We didn't know each other. we had seen each other. We decided to go into our cars. I didn't realize that that would be the start of a friendship for many years now. Our wives and us, we would get together, and I don't know how many times we've gotten together to eat and celebrate birthdays, but it's been a wonderful friendship. And I think part of the thing that resonated for me was David's overseas experience and cross-cultural experience, which kind of dovetailed with that of my wife and I. A few things that maybe you didn't know about David. He was a captain in the U.S. Army, and I believe he was a tank commander. Once upon a time. This is where he gets his driving skills from, I'm sure. Some of you, if you're only remember back then, Attorney General Bobby Kennedy walked 50 miles one day. He took up the challenge and walked 50 miles one day because Bobby Kennedy did, and almost ruined his feet for the rest of his life, as I recall. David wrote a book about his travels to the Philippines. I think it was titled Liberace's Filipino Cousin, something like that. Yeah. Did you also know that David taught at Johns Hopkins? I think that's right. In fact, I brought something with me, and maybe I left it back there, but I found something online from Johns Hopkins, from their School of Public Health, I think. And they were quoting David Brubaker, PhD, and I should mention David has 7 or 8 degrees, I forget how many you've had, something like that. But he taught college level courses to military personnel. He was recognized by the state of Pennsylvania to do weddings. Can you still do that, David?
Yes, I can.
Okay, good. So if you need to get married, well, you can go to David as well. And then I should mention Executive Vice President of Ag Industries. And there's so much more to say, but the main thing I'd like to leave here tonight is when David told me that he was running for Borough Council, it's like, well, why not? You've done everything else in life. Why not do that? And it was a great thing. And I'm so happy that in the Borough of Lititz, which basically has a bent toward one specific political spectrum, that David was able to come on the board and work great. I think it's a wonderful thing to see David as a Democrat come into the board and be able to serve with the rest of you. I mean, isn't it a great thing? I just think it is. So I'm very thankful that David had this opportunity to serve, and I wish you the best, David. We'll still see you walking around town, but thanks for these years of good service. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Ben. You're very kind.
Aaron, can you tell us?
The degrees that Karen's gonna have to read for me is much shorter.
Thank you. Hi, Shane.
Hello.
So I'm here to congratulate you tonight and thank you for a tremendous run on Borough Council and great service as president. When you and I met each other, you were this kid on the zoning hearing board and like, who the heck is that? And since that time, you have really transgressed into an incredible business person, just a great staunch supporter of Lititz, and just so proud that I had the chance to work alongside you. We have been through some really fun times, a few heartbreaking times, and all that boring stuff that you guys do day in, day out, week in, week out. And that includes finance and insurance and contract negotiations, benefits and personnel, and water and sewer services, which nobody ever wants to be on that subcommittee. But Shane did. So, and all of the negotiations that go on with that. Your business acumen has served the borough well, and especially when it's come to loans and bonds, understanding the underpinning of all of that. It's been exceptional in your service. I do want to point out that the gift of your time to the borough has taken away your time from your family. And if you just put in 10 hours a month, like most of you do, but probably more, You've given away about 700 hours of time since you became president of Borough Council, which is pretty extraordinary. I thank you for that, and I thank your family. I want to thank you and point out that without your kindness, your spirit of charity, and your humility, that this place would be a little bit darker and certainly not as great a place to live as it's turned out to be. So thank you very much for your service. We're all very appreciative, and have a great time not having to show up on Tuesday and not having to read all that stuff and go to all those meetings. Thank you, Shane.
Thank you so much, Karen. Thank you.
It's a roast. I don't remember talking to you when I was in the house. That's nice.
Yeah, I'll tell you about that.
So what, 16 years or 16 years?
16 years. Yep.
You know, when you started this, you weren't supposed to stay this long.
I understand.
And Karen's right. You're one of the younger people to serve. And I thought that was pretty cool. But you know, you're an outlier. I don't know if this or not. So in the second year, there's a certain rule. I don't know if people know that Karen's an outlier too. You have to be from Front Street. It was the Front Street Mafia. And I was recruited from the king, the head honcho, Dale Shelley, back many years. Then I went to Tim, said, you can enter the family, Borough Council. Dennis, that he told me, I was on my mid 20s, Dennis, I'm closer to age 60. I was like, Dennis, I really want to do this. And so we were able to do it. But then shortly after I left, came on, and 16 years is a amazing term. And I think it's a testament to your willing to serve the community, because it's so hard to find people willing to serve these days, and people at a younger age. So I think you're a great example of that. Thank you for all you've done in the council. It's great. To all the other folks, Ken Mobley as well, who brought back the Front Street Mafia legacy. It's been a wonderful thing. So thanks so much, and great job.
Thanks, John. Yeah.
Well, thank you, everyone. Is there anybody in the audience tonight that would like to come up and speak and recognize these individuals? Thank you very much for all of your comments, and it was fun and great of you to share. So thank you. All right.
Thank you, Ken. Do you guys want to say anything? I think I can speak for all of us, but I would just say that this would not be nearly as much fun if it weren't for the capability of our staff here at the borough, and you know, just the camaraderie that we've had over the years with all of the council members that have served, regardless of political party. And I think, you know, Dave's a great example of, hey, we're not about national politics and Lititz Borough. That's not the business that we're conducting. So we're here to conduct business for Lititz Borough and what's best for its residents. So it's been a real pleasure, and I will miss 98% of it. We'll move on. We have no ordinances. We have a bunch of resolutions this evening. We have resolution number 977, which is adopt our 2024 budget as advertised.
So Shane, we've had a nice progression at developing the budget. It started way back in August. We've had a couple budget planning meetings. We've had a work session in November. I think it was November 14th. We had a public meeting, council meeting. We discussed the budget. We also had a Q&A session where it was open to the public to just let people ask questions and get more clarity. So and it's been advertised now for over since November 30th. So tonight we're going to move forward, but before we do, are there any other questions from the audience before we move forward? Dave? I think now would be a good time, and please use the mic. Thank you.
Christmas, Dave. Merry Christmas to you. Rebecca, congratulations. Dave Carson, 226. I just want to go back a year ago. You were here and you raised taxes 63%, which generated $150,000.
of revenue to the borough general fund. You raise garbage fees, which added another $199,000 roughly of revenue to the borough. Those two increases were $48,000. Last year at this time, you told us that the expected profit for 2023 was a little over $18,000. This year in the budget, we don't know what the projected profit is because you changed the format. Prior years would tell us like the projected actual numbers. That's not in this year's budget for some reason in the general fund. So here we are for 2024, those same tax increases and garbage fees were increased. We're still getting that revenue. So last year you said you were going to break even. And then you're telling us at the December 12th budget meeting, you told us that you profited 1.1 million. So my question was, why do you need a garbage fee increase and a real estate tax increase for 2024? For 2023, you told us you needed it to break even at 18,000. Some things coming through for this year. So I raise my voice in opposition to the proposed numbers. I think that's an obscene 63% garbage real estate increase, 67% garbage fee increase. I have heard the argument that the garbage fees were used for leaf collection and Christmas trees or the borough. Works already does that. So that number, those expenses are already baked in. So the borough's profit was 2023, but they didn't need to. They could get taxes at the level that they were. I see no way to cut the expenses for 2024. At the December 12th meeting, I talked about some financial administration fees and I thought were too high, some audit fees that were too high. There's been no information provided to me to say otherwise. This is not a good day to speak about this, I guess, with the police. I'm for the police. I'm for the police. I love the police. However, I think there are ways that we could look to reduce our expenses. We have a Pure Township not too far from us, $700,000 less per year. Not the police, love the police, don't get that impression. But you've taken no look at that. There's been no attempt to look at it. So my thing is, you raise taxes, you raise garbage fees, you didn't put 2023 or for 2024. They wouldn't tell us those numbers because you took those numbers out, and that's lack of transparency purposely or by mistake. But other years you had it in this year, you took it out. And you had some numbers. Shane told us last week what the numbers were. We have no knowledge of this. So I just raise again my opposition to the borough tax, my brother. Thank you. And my opposition to the budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. We did, we were able to do some research for you on one of your questions from December 12th, and you asked what the Waltz Group hourly rate was, and for the work that we're having them do, it's $114 per hour. You're welcome. Any further questions? Okay. I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution 977 that adopts the Borough of Lititz 2024 budget.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Resolution number 978, which is to appoint our independent auditor for the 2023 fiscal year. And that will be Brown, Sheridan, Schultz, and Fritz.
I move to approve Resolution 978 that it appoints the firm Brown, Sheridan, Schultz, and Fritz as independent auditor to make an independent examination of all accounting records of the Borough of Lititz for 2023.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Resolution number 979, which is to set the real estate tax rate for 2024. And that will be unchanged for 2024 at 3.25 mils.
I move to approve Resolution 979 to levy the same 3.25 mils as real estate tax rate for the year 2024.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Resolution number 980, which is to set the earned income tax rate for 2024. And that is 1/2 of 1% earned income.
I move to approve resolution 980 to continue to levy 0.5% earned income tax for the year 2024.
Second.
The motion and a second, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Resolution number 981, which is to set the realty transfer tax for 2024. It's also 0.5%.
To approve resolution 981 to continue to levy 0.5% realty transfer tax for the year 2024.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Finally, we have resolution number 982, which is the appointment of tax collector for our local services tax. We're going to be appointing the Lancaster County Tax Collection Bureau perform that service for us.
And I move to approve resolution 982 that appoints Lancaster County Tax Collection Bureau to collect real estate tax and local services tax for the year 2024.
Second. We have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We have one agreement number 559 is the CASA contribution agreement, and this is an agreement between the borough and the Skate Park Association so that we can contribute $20,000 towards the improvements that are being done out there. And this was budgeted in 2023.
Yes, it was part of the budget that just passed, yes.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve agreement number 559, the $20,000 contribution agreement to Cocalico Alternative Sports Association for improvements to the Lititz Skate Park.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Our council members forum, subcommittee report on water and wastewater. Ken.
Shane, I just have one item of business, and that's going to be for Nate to share our Infomark report on the water treatment plant and the wastewater treatment facility.
All right. So the one big thing was the wastewater plant had experienced an instantaneous fecal maximum number. What had happened is we were completing the 6-month UV channel cleaning. The UV is the regular, standard disinfection at the wastewater plant. When we have an emergency or we do bypass, we have to use calcium hypochlorite. So that's like the pill tablets. And we had used some tablets that we had purchased during COVID when it was kind of hard to find tablets. And turns out they don't dissolve as well as the ones that we usually use. And so we just were not able to maintain the disinfection rate that we needed. So, usually when you use chlorine or you use UV, it kills the fecal, and we just couldn't get that number down. So that's just a part of the number that we had to report for the month. UV wise, every other day and pretty much every other day for the past few years, it's been 3s. So that just shows, it's a different type of animal. But like I said, we did purchase the chemical, the original chemical, and we have that on site now. The other chemical we're not going to use. We'll just, if anything, use it for cleaning purposes, but not for actual treatment of the process. Let's see, for the month, for the month of November, actually about $4,100 below budget, which gives us about $27,000 below the annual budget for the year. Like I said, we had client services in to do the UV channel cleaning. Martin's had to replace the emergency generator battery at Kissel Hill booster station. And then we had to get one of the lift pumps, one of the big pumps down at the wastewater plant. We had to rebuild at Whitmer Motor Service. Let's see, and that was about thankfully it's been it usually is a slow cruise towards the end of the year. But then Ken had also mentioned about if you'd like to.
But just for the audience and for council, one of the concerns that we see is cybersecurity, and we continually hear of municipalities, their water pumping stations or their plants being hit. Would you just say from a high level what Infomark is doing to protect our facilities and our community? Thank you.
And so I know I discussed before, about, like just for me to look at the water plant takes a couple of pieces of equipment and a couple, about 3 or 4 passwords. But company wise, there's ongoing training all year long. They usually try to hit us with fake phishing emails, you know, trying to keep it in our eyes to what to look for, attachments, emails that almost look right but aren't, you know, and so that's something that the company does. We can also actually report those phishing emails, so it's not like you just, oh, okay, I'm not going to open it and send it away. You can actually send it to IT, and usually they say, hey, great. And sometimes they say, hey, great, but here, still do this training because we want you to. Let's see, other than that, we also have our own firewall with our email, and just like stated with the SCADA system has its own firewall that was built that nobody can get in unless we say you can come in. It's not like it can get hacked. You know, somebody actually has to physically say, yeah, you can come in if you want to come in. Now, and like we said, you know, we do have 5 passwords. 5 of us have passwords to go in. If anybody would leave, their passwords get canceled pretty much right away. We also can do that at the wastewater plant, even though that's an older style SCADA. We still have that control there to get rid of, to get their passwords out as well. But yeah.
In addition to give us clean drinking water and getting rid of the waste, we appreciate the extra efforts to protect us with cybersecurity. Thank you. Thanks for that.
Thank you.
Any questions for Nate? Okay, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the Infomark November report for the Lititz Borough Water Treatment Plant and Wastewater Facility.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Ken.
One quick thing. Shane, Nate, we'd like you to look at your calendar. Rob and I would like to make a tour available to the new council members that are coming. So could you give us a list of dates that we could share with the team?
Okay, yep.
And then we'll organize it. There may be some others that will join you as well, but okay, thank you, Shane.
Thank you. Subcommittee report on streets and traffic. Chris.
Thank you, Shane. 2 items on the agenda this evening. The first one would be just an update of the Layman Street request from last month. BESC had requested consider limiting parking on Layman Street for the purpose of ease of access for emergency service vehicles. And we reached out to the residents of that area and have received some feedback. Some strongly opposed to the consideration. So I think the next step that we are going to suggest is to have actually an on-site meeting with both BESC representatives and the residents of concern who have voiced concerns and questions regarding that. So that will be held sometime next year. Elijah, do you have anything else you want to add to that?
No, just we've had, I think we reached out to probably about 20 to 25 addresses, both if there are rentals for both the tenants and then the owners or the property owner. We've heard back from 4 as of today.
Okay, thank you. And is there anyone here that wanted to comment on that? Oh, go ahead, sir. Like to come up with a mic? Would you mind?
Microphone.
Thank you.
There are people watching on.
Street. That there's a lot of traffic on the street that comes from Water Street and from Cedar Street, the park on our street also. So tonight I went and observed closer, and I noticed some new people moved into the neighborhood. And they're parking in the back of the lots and not in the street. So it was like there's only 5 cars on the check. So I'm not sure if it's important to make one parking on one side, but my wife and me talked about this, and we thought it was really important to make a parking space with yellow lines out in the corner of these other ends of the street. Because we noticed when we driving in there, it's hard to make the corner because of the people parking on both sides. So that might help with the problem without making it parking just on one side. Because I park everything on my property. But when my family comes to visit, sometimes they couldn't get a parking space. Now it's changed a little bit, so I don't know if it's going to go back to being cluttered like it was or not. Okay?
Thank you, sir. Thank
Yep.
you. And that was one of the concerns that was expressed by the people who did respond, is that when they have visitors or they have a get together, that then it becomes a problem for parking because so many additional cars are there for a temporary period of time. We will take a look at that and work closely with residents and let you know when the on-site will occur. Thank you for being here tonight. Anyone else? Next item of business we have tonight is to advertise for the 2024 paving. Council, you should have a list in front of you from your packets at work. These funds will be coming from the highway aid, the highway general services, and the stormwater construction fund. And this will be paving of multiple borough streets and lanes, as well as improvements to curbs and ADA ramps as needed. So for 2024, these streets will be South Spruce Street, Second to Orange, at an estimated cost of $505,000. West Marion Street at estimated cost of just under $99,000. Raspberry Lane, estimated cost of $62,500. Lockup Lane, estimated cost of under $30,000. North Cedar Street, estimated cost of just under $54,000. Prairie Lane, an estimated cost of $9,000. Prairie Lane, estimated cost of $10,500. Arrowhead Drive, estimated cost of $11,000. North Oak Street, estimated cost of $145,000, and contingency figure of $180,550. Funding sources will include the liquid fuels of $260,000, general fund of $577,000, and the stormwater fund of $265,000. Are there any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'd like to make a motion that we approve to advertise the 2024 paving plan.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Aye.
Thank you, Chris. Committee report on finances, Ken.
We just have two items of business. We'd like to say thank you to the Lititz United Methodist Church for their generous financial donation this month. And the second item is just for council to take a look at their financial report. You can see that pretty much all of the revenue is in for the year. There's still some trickling in, as you see. You'll also see expenses exceeded the month. That's normal. One thing that we mentioned at the mid-year financial report that Rob and I felt like at some point would go over budget on some of our salary and benefits within our organization, and we did. We went over that this month here in December by about $11,000. So we took action back in the spring to retain talent, which meant we had to raise our salaries and our benefits, and we were happy to do that because we're happy with the people that we have. But that is manifesting itself in slightly over our expenses that we allocated here. So that's the explanation for that. Everything else is in order, or is what we had anticipated. Several things came in under cost as well, so we appreciate that. Any questions? I'd like to make a motion to approve the financial report and then pay all the bills.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Ken.
You're welcome.
Subcommittee report on personnel, Andy.
Okay, as discussed last month, we viewed the salary levels of the police versus a peer group that included, I think, 11 other departments in Lancaster County. What we discovered is that our current contract, which expires at the end of 2020, had our officers being in the low end of the average. So we're going to, tonight, I'm going to make a motion that we open the police contract for the simple purpose of adjusting the pay scale to bring us up to an average number. We lost an officer last year because we weren't competitive with wages, and with the trouble we have finding officers, we just had 3 that were hired, well, not hired, but were sworn in tonight. We had to pay for their schooling, basically. So to try to retain the officers that we have, we're going to make an adjustment for the 2024 pay scale until their contract is negotiated basically next year for 2024 or 2025 and ongoing. So I'd like to make a motion that we open the police contract for the sole purpose of adjusting the pay scale levels.
Second.
Okay. I'm going to read, there are 7 levels here based on time of service and their rank. After 1 year of service, the 2024 contract as currently written have a pay scale of 69,512. And we're going to propose that that number be revised to 72,886. After 2 years of service, the 2024 contract that's currently in place has a salary level of $71,847. And we're proposing to adjust that to 75,334. After 3 years of service, the current contract has a number of 75,664. We're proposing that that number go to 79,337. After 4 years of service, the 2024 contract has a scale of $78,044, and we want to amend that to $81,833. After 5 years of service, the contract is pay scale is 89,993, and we'd like to adjust that to 94,362. For the rank of detective, the current contract has a rate of 95,531. We'd like to adjust that to 100,169. And the sergeant current pay scale is 99,340. And we're proposing that that be adjusted to 104,163. I'd like to make a motion that we adjust the pay scales that I just read to the revised numbers.
So we have a motion and a second.
I just made the motion to
Okay, so
adjust that.
so motion and a second to open the contract. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So now we're making a motion
I'd like to
to,
make a motion that we adjust the pay scales that I just read to the proposed numbers.
Second.
the motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Then I'd like to make the third motion to close the contract.
Second.
The motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
So I'd
Thank you, Andy. Subcommittee report on planning. Steve.
We have one item on the agenda there regarding the A-frame signing. Everybody knows what those are. The little- This became a discussion point within the planning commission. I should say it started with the downtown merchants came to the planning commission. It was during COVID, they were allowed, and then currently our ordinance does not allow them, so Lori did as she supposed to, and down let everyone know they were not allowed. So there's been some discussions at planning commission, and I do see Karen here, might be able to share a little bit discussion there. Read the planning commission meeting minutes. Karen even notes it was the third time, I think, Karen, that this has come up in recent years. So it has been a discussion point and probably something we need to at least evaluate. There are more businesses downtown. There's more businesses on side alleys and less visible on the main street. I mean, I would say there's a lot of things that I think we're going to discuss about it. Safety concerns. There's some areas where they work, some areas where they don't, where the tree rows take up some of the sidewalk, where the steps come out on the sidewalk. So there's going to probably be some discussions. But right now, the planning commission is just suggesting that we It was to hire a consultant or just to entertain it.
I think it was basically to have staff begin working on this and that, council is open to the change. So there's no draft ordinance at this place. It's essentially to begin working on it for consideration, both at the planning commission and eventually council.
So the next steps would be for staff to work on a draft, work through with planning commission over several meetings and bring it back to us.
After the solicitor reviews it, yes.
Any thoughts, questions? Again, we're not looking to move on acting change, but to start looking at what possible changes could occur.
So this request has come from several businesses downtown?
Yeah, we look in the packet of information. I don't want to count. There's several. A good number of the downtown businesses that are requesting that we evaluate this. I don't see anybody from them. Would you like to come up and share?
Good evening. My name is Elizabeth Roberts. I'm representing several of the businesses down on Sturgis Lane. We're asking that we could just look at the language and see if there's any room for an amendment. We're not asking for any changes tonight. And I think a lot of it was all discussed at the previous meetings. So I don't want to really take up anybody's time further this evening, but yes, we are requesting that we could start looking at it. And I know from the venture Lititz side, they said that they could reach out to different towns around the country and help with looking at language, not changing, just start looking at everything. Thank you.
As reference, you can see rather than regurgitating it in the copy of the planning commission notes in there, all that, but I think it's a good idea. It is something that has come up many years. I think it's definitely something we've got to look at. There's probably a lot of questions and thoughts we have to have with that, but I think it's entertaining. Do we need to actually have a motion to go forward, or is this just you guys want to know to start drafting something?
So you want to approach it, say the acknowledge staff to begin working on it, or if you want to do a motion, I think either would work. So
Personally, I don't think we need a motion. I think we just acknowledge and I just start working with the commission.
You want to set a timeline, Steve? Like, we want to have it back in a
Was anything during the planning commission discussion? Was anything promised with the merchants?
we said hopefully 6 months, but it could be a year, and everyone seemed accepting to that.
I wouldn't want to set a timeline because depending on how the draft goes and the comments go, like discussion, I would like to think it could happen within a year, but I wouldn't want to set a time to it. That's it.
Thanks, Steve. Report by our borough engineer, Scott.
If you have my report, probably the main thing that we've been working on is coordinating with Norfolk Southern on the rail siding project. We did get the permit submitted, so hopefully we are able to get that moving along so the project can start next year. We also are working on the regional basin near the rec center. So those sort of are two parallel projects next to each other, but not necessarily attached to each other at this point. So, any other questions?
Thanks, Scott.
Okay, thanks.
Report by the mayor and chief. Mayor.
Just one thing, and I was part of the Christmas tree lighting, community Christmas tree lighting, and I may not have remembered that it was quite an ugly evening with a lot of rain, and I would just like to give a shout out to the community because they always support things. The attendance in that the weather was amazing. And the spirit of our community continues to overwhelm me. That's it.
Thanks, Mayor. Chief. Report by our managing directors.
A few quick things, either written reports or just to call out. First is Paymentus. That's the company we're using to do our online payment. As you may know, water, sewer, trash bills went out around December 10th. As of this morning, we have 156 payments online for about $40,000. I don't know how to compare that to how we did in the past because it's our first time doing this. But if you would have asked me a month ago, I would have said maybe half of that number within a month or so, not within 7 days. So pleasantly surprised by that. No negative feedback as of yet, but obviously it's still early. And then certainly we're open to any kind of feedback we get from the public on that. We really quick on the cedar and culverts. Work on the Lincoln side is progressing well. There were no issues with the sidewalls, which if you remember, that was a major concern and unknown. They're in great shape. So the project is moving on. But not to the Cedar Street side yet, but Lincoln looking good. We haven't dipped into any of the contingencies as of yet. So far, so good. From the public works, leaf pickup is all finished. Machines are away. The guys are happy it's all done. And now we're on to the, fingers crossed, the other weather stuff that might be coming down the road. And just the last thing for administrative, Borough Hall is closed the 22nd through the 26th, and then again on January 1st. Happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Rob. Elijah.
So pretty routine, Scott and Rob still two ones I wanted to talk about. So otherwise, it's a lot of administrative stuff getting towards the year end. Did just want to say thank you to Shane, Randy, David. It's been great serving with you and as for your years of service. Beyond that, any questions on my report?
Thanks, Elijah.
Thank you.
We have no new business, no unfinished business, no other business, which brings us to petitions, correspondence, and questions. If anyone in the audience would like to address council, microphone, name and address, and take it away. And we'll put a request out on Zoom as well.
Joe Knight from 114 Red Fox. On behalf of the citizens of Lititz, thank you, David, Shane, and Andrew for your service. We moved you to Lititz because it's a special place. And Lititz is a special place because of the services that you have provided to our community. So thank you very much. And I look forward to being part of this in the future. So I just want to acknowledge that on behalf of all the citizens of our community. One of the things I found when I did some campaigning was when I met with merchants, the issue of signage is an issue that they have concern about. And I would just encourage the council to think creatively about ways of solving that problem, because I know that they are interested in making sure traffic comes up their street and down their street. And I'm sure there are ways that we can work at that. So I'm glad that the council is considering some ideas about how to provide some good quality creative signage that reflects our community and our heritage and is very aesthetic to our community. So thank you.
Thanks, Jerry. You just made yourself a job.
Again, Dave Carson, 226 Street. I also want to thank the outgoing council members. I know we've had disagreements, but I appreciate your service. That's not personal. I appreciate all your time. I would like to say I hope the new council members are more transparent than what the current council has been. And I hope the new council members are more cognizant of financial issues with taxpayers, considering again the 63% outrageous real estate tax increase that continues, the 67% garbage fee increase that continues. I would hope to see that there's more debate. I've been coming here for years, 2 years at least. I've seen all unanimous decisions, which is amazing me with 6 people that I think there was one time Mr. Brubaker said he had a protest vote. It amazes me that there's not more debate and diversity of thought, diversity of opinion. regardless of the political situation. So I'm recommending the council members hope there is more transparency on the debates. I think about the residents in their financial situation. Thank you.
David, one comment. Now, next year, the taxes will go up 0%. So,
We're going back 2 years, it's still 63% from 2 years ago.
from this year to next year, 0%.
Okay, but last year you were 63%, you let it 1.1. Give it back.
No, it's not profit, it's surplus.
What terminology? That's not the taxpayers' wallet.
It's not like you're profit. It appears profiting from that money. It's sort of be assigned for future needs.
Nobody's insinuating or saying that you're profiting from the money. You're taking it from the taxpayer. So that's my opinion. I mean, yeah, obviously different. I've never seen 63% increase. You guys have taken the record. I don't know if you're happy about that, if you're proud of that. 63%. It's outrageous. Maybe you could have done a little bit smaller increments.
I think somebody beat us with an 85%.
But I think you tried to be second at 63%. Okay, I went to brag about it. Okay, Lancaster County.
It's in this area. I'm not sure which one.
Okay, again,
It's lighthearted.
I don't understand, but I really you're wrong, David. I have said 39 seconds left, Steve. We've told you multiple times, what's $1 million paving going to cost? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the taxes you brought in. Just it's to your last meeting. Steve, you want to see the value increase the taxes in 10 years when $1 million is $5 million? I don't know what's going to happen in 10 years. The first like 10 years or 5 years ago, we had to do a 63% tax increase in 1 year. 2023, 2024, it's the same 63% increase. Thank you, David. Thank you, Steve.
I wouldn't have it any other way. I will point out that for 2024, Lititz Borough will have the 5th lowest millage rate among boroughs in Lancaster County. So thank you so much. I have really enjoyed this, and I think I can speak for Andy and Dave that it's been a great experience, and we'll be around. And Andy's sticking around for the Christmas dinner next year. I guess that was the hope to get you back.
It's a great meal.
All right, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
David, thank you.
Thank you.